So I was in the shower, I was cleaning my ass and making all sure all sparkly, spanky clean.
I'm not the funny one, I'm the pretty one.
Cock shots. I just checked myself out.
Candles, music, wine, and then lube up and get on top.
The glory hole's like a dick theater. I've imagined your family.
Which means your pants had better come off. Mama needs playtime.
We're not sluts.
We just love love.
Join us on The Wet Coast, a podcast about sexuality and ethical non-monogamy of every variety. We talk polyamory and swinging, monogamish and open relationships, from dirty, dirty sex to heartbreak and everything in between. We share our personal experiences and philosophy, observations and theories, what works for us, and where we fucked it right up. This isn't your average couple's explanabrag podcast, though we definitely do a little of that. We share our adventures in open with a unique, funny, feminist, and Canadian approach. Come get wet with us on the Wet Coast.
Hello, folks. This is Mrs. Atom.
Oh, yeah, that's me. Hi. No, well, I'm not Mrs. Atom. I'm Mr. Atom.
Uh-huh.
I'm Mr. Atom.
And welcome back for another episode of By the By.
Hi.
Yes.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us this week. I will say sorry about last week. We have had a busy time with Mardi Gras.
It's true. And admittedly,
Yes.
we are recording this before Mardi Gras.
Relax.
Chillax.
Patience.
You know you love me.
Patience.
Yes. Yes.
If anyone knows me, it's all about patience.
Oh, my God. I'm going to yell that because I didn't mute that.
I don't have patience with that.
I've now muted it.
When the computer dings at me, there's a reason why my work computer is always on silent.
That's just great. I love it. The people that help me. She hits me when I don't mute the computer. Oh my God. So I like to think that's what people, when they listen to this, that they find it endearing because it makes it real. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right? People?
Yes.
Support me in this.
Yes, please support
I see a
him.
Twitter poll.
He needs support.
I need help. So
we've got Mardi Gras coming up this weekend.
so excited. I'm exhausted already.
I know. Mardi Gras is a busy season.
Oh my God.
But a couple of our friends have equated it to gay Christmas.
It's gay Christmas. It is.
And it really kind of is around here.
You know, and the problem is, and this isn't a problem, but I've already decided next year I'm taking the month of February off. Mm-hmm. Because there's so much stuff. Every single night there's something that's going on. Tonight they're doing the queer after party at the art museum where drag queens march you around the art museum and show you art that's done by LGBTQ people. I mean, I
think that's part of the problem with Mardi Gras. And
it's too concentrated.
Well, everything happens within 2 weeks prior to the parade. And so basically the last 2 weeks of February is chock full of activities. Like you said, there's art stuff, there's plays, there's musicals, there's
theater,
comedy
like
things.
movie things, not just theater stuff, theater, but like movie theater.
Yeah, there's so many events going on for the community, and it's all concentrated in these 2 weeks, and there is no way that you can do even half of what you want
the
to.
Butch monologues were tonight, and
I know.
Some of the people that we've performed with at Real 34 were doing that, and I was like, oh, I would love to do that, but again, that's tonight.
Right.
It's just...
It's too much. It really is. I really think it would be better, and I don't know how feasible it would be, but if they spread it out over a month, like take all of February.
February should be Gay Pride Month in Sydney.
Yeah.
There, I said it. I mean, it's Black History Month as well, so
Month.
perhaps... And February is the shortest month, but, okay, maybe March.
But then they have to move the parade.
No, keep parade. Let the parade be the opening, and then Fair Day be the closing.
Fair enough. All right.
I don't know. Anyway, so, look, we're complaining and arguing.
It's just a lot of good stuff crammed into a tiny space of time.
Yes.
And there's no way that we can do everything that we want to.
It's true.
We have a lot of friends who have complained about the same thing, is that you're going every day, every night, there's something, and...
Dark side.
And you still don't get it all.
She's my... Something dark side.
Mm-hmm. I'm choosing to.
There's like 4 people out there that are laughing at me right now. Thank you, you 4. Thank you.
Yeah. So it's a great time of year, but it is crazy, stupid busy, and it's a bit exhausting. So Yeah.
Right. Tomorrow we have a show that we get to
Yes, we
see
do.
that I'm really, really looking forward to. I've seen it before.
I have not.
You have not. We're taking the boyfriend, and I don't know what I'm going to call him yet, but he's someone that I've had a crush on forever.
It's the very special friend.
Yeah, the very special
We
friend.
have the boyfriend, and then we have the very special
Yeah,
friend.
you know what your name is. Anyway, so he took me to see the show ages ago, and now we're getting
I
to see
didn't
it
realize
again.
you'd seen it.
Yeah. That's why, because he took me to see the show last Mardi Gras
I
season.
thought that it was just one that you wanted to see.
No, this is a great show. This was the show that sort of inspired me for my show. Only this one's a musical, and mine's not a musical.
All right, gentlemen, you hear that? He's got a heads up on us.
That's right. Dum, dum, dum.
We have a lot of ground to make up.
Y'all don't have too much ground to make up. What else do we have going on? Oh, we've got... You were on a phone call forever tonight.
Yes, we have a bed that is being made for us.
Custom bed.
It's a
Kind of
custom
awesome.
bed. It is a kind of a BDSM style bed. It's basically a big 4-poster steel bed. We still have some things we need to talk about with that. But it's basically, it's got little eyelets, eye holes, whatever, all the way down the posts so that you can tie someone up, put accoutrement, whatever, all the way down at various positions. We're going to have a bar across the end so it can use it as kind of a bit of a cross.
Ooh. Still the swing? Gonna have a place for the swing?
It's going to have some bars that come out of the end, so with actuators, so that way we can attach a swing to the end if we want.
It's gonna be awesome.
Or the swing can be over the bed, depending on how we want to use it.
Still gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be really amazing. And
Pretty excited for this.
so I talked to the guy who's building it, and it actually sounds like it may be ready in a few weeks. So, depending on how our schedules line up, I was just looking at the calendar, we may be out of town, so we may have to wait until after some of our trips to have it delivered and installed and break it in.
Do you hear that, gentlemen? You better be on call, buddy. And I can think of a few other people I would like to be on call for that. So I think the vast majority of y'all listen, and if you're listening, you know who you are. So let's get this party rolling.
Yeah, we're gonna break it in proper style.
Are we gonna have a breaking in the bed party?
Yes, we are.
That sounds good.
Yes, we are.
BITBP. That's gonna be awesome.
Yep.
Pretty excited for this. It's can we say the name of the company? Do you know the name of the company?
Yeah, Furniture Seduction.
There you go. Furniture Seduction out of Radelaide.
Yep, it's a small company out of Adelaide, and they were one of the ones that we found at Sexpo. We'd seen a couple of companies that did furniture stuff, but this one, we really liked the fact that it was done out of steel, that it's kind of really sturdy. It had the look that we wanted, the feel that we wanted, and
I'm really excited for this piece.
Yeah, we were really happy when we saw it, and the guy's been great to work with. He's basically like, look, this is your bed, and every step of the way he sends pictures. He asks, do you want this? Do you want this? And so if you don't like making decisions, that's probably bad for you, but at the same time, this is going to be our bed for a long time.
Forever.
So,
this is going to be our forever bed.
And so we want to make sure that it's exactly what we want, and I think he gets that, and he's very much... We can customize it any way that you want. And even asking about, do you want legs here? Do you want legs... Like, very specific things. And I think it's really good.
So, you know, if we ever split up, we're going to have to wrestle for this bed.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
But you know what?
What?
We're not going to have to.
I know, because
we're not
going to
split up.
Aw, I love you. Okay, sorry. Cool.
Yes, that's really exciting.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
coming
excited.
up. And we'll
Yeah.
have pictures up everywhere. Yeah.
Yes. Just don't worry. Well, there'll be plenty of pictures. I'm sure Instagram will block most of them.
Well, we just have to cover the nipples.
The bed doesn't have nipples.
It will when I'm on it.
Okay. I can't win this. So Angela's been taking improv classes, and I've learned over the last 3 weeks that I just need to yes and a little more. Because that's, yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Is it?
It is.
Okay. Because
So-
you can just tell me to shut up.
No, I would never do that. I would stick my cock in your mouth. Be like, don't talk with your mouth full. All right.
Uh-huh.
Okay, babe. So what are we on to now?
So we are going to talk about some sexy times.
Ooh, I
because
like sexy
It's
times.
been a while since we've had a sexy time
is.
podcast.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of other things going on, some educational, some informational, some WTF podcasts. I'm thinking of the fantasy one right there.
I liked that one.
I did
That one.
too, but at the same time, there was a lot of, oh, and I do have to actually, speaking of the fantasy one, give a big, huge shout out to a listener who was at Desire last year, who sent us the full paper from that. And let's see if I can pull the email up quickly. It was something like, 1 point something % of the people. Oh, let me pull it up. Hold on, give me a second. Here it is. So 1.5 of the male respondents identified as homosexual and 9.8 as bi. So that does explain a lot of the skewing of the data, which we kind of talked about a bit in there. Yeah. Is that we thought it was a very heterosexual crowd overall. But there were some bi folks in there. But only 1.5 is homosexual, so % of the male respondents. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. But yeah, so she sent the full paper, which was really fascinating to read. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, we love our listeners.
Can't wait to see it Desire this year.
I was going to say you especially.
Yes. We had a nice, I remember it because we had a nice breakfast with them.
We had a breakfast date with them.
They're so nice. Yeah. And it was just like one of those, we needed another week. Because I wasn't really comfortable with my whole self until, I was comfortable with myself, but I wasn't like in the moment of like non-social talking. I loved talking until like day 4. Then I was like, let's fuck.
I was going to say, and I think
it took me way too long to fuck.
That's part of the thing is that I think being new was kind of let's feel things out, let's see how it goes. We didn't want to jump straight into things. And we do love making those social connections with people, which is great, and that carries on. But at the same time, it does take time then to say, hey, let's get in bed. And by that point, the week's done. And
I'm thinking this year we could go with little cards that say, take me to Pound Town, and it's going to be like, just ourselves, or one-on-one, or in like a group plus more, and then we just give them to people in circle and then hand it to them, like things that we're interested in.
Do you know what else you add to that?
What?
You add a schedule of one-on-one, be at this place this time. Group,
that's right.
This place this time.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oof. Woof. Yeah. So
you already have your schedule set out.
I'm really.
There's always desire time too.
Desire time. Anyway, so that's a whole nother podcast that we'll get back to again.
Right.
Okay,
so let's talk about sexy times.
All right.
Because we've had a lot recently, and I say recently as in like, I don't know, the past month.
Yes.
Because you were traveling a lot.
Yeah, get ready, people, because it's going to happen again.
Yeah. So I know that you paid for the premium tender, so you could say that you were in a place or going to be in a place before you were there. I don't even know how this works. How does it work?
So Tinder allows you to pay, it's like $25 a month, which is fucking stupid. But I also paid for this month as well. So that you can set yourself up to chat with people before you're in that location. So the idea is, like, when I was going to be in New Zealand, I knew I was going to be in New Zealand. So I said, I changed my profile to say I will be in New Zealand these dates. And I changed my location so I could match with people in New Zealand.
And I think it's good that you actually said that you were going to be there. Because, admittedly, while you were gone this time, I picked up Tinder again for the first time in, I don't know, a year. It's been a long time. And funnily enough, though, I matched with one of our play partners pretty quickly. Because she texted and was like, I just messed with you I just saw you on Tinder. I was like, really? Because I literally just reactivated my account for like an hour at that point.
Good news travels fast.
Yeah.
So does your ass.
But what was interesting was the number of people that came up well outside of the distance that I had set. And I know that I asked you about that later because I was like, well, why are all these people coming up like, thousands of miles away or whatever? And you said they're probably traveling in the area.
Yeah.
But unless you say that you're traveling, then I just immediately ignore you because I'm like, no, not interested.
So I always assume that they're traveling.
Yeah.
And then I'll say, when are you traveling kind of thing. You're this far away. When will you be here is kind of thing. But I set myself up for being in New Zealand specifically and had a few matches. I'm going to be honest, I hate Tinder.
Yeah.
I feel like we could do a full podcast on just the Tinder experience, so I don't want to dive too deeply into it. But it's, it is really frustrating, and between the people who end up matching you for nothing and nothing happens ever.
Yep.
Or the people who you have a great conversation with immediately and then you never hear from them again. Or the blatant and sometimes aggressive biphobia that you deal with. it's just so hard. And then the people that you finally do meet, yeah, it leaves a lot for wanting.
Yeah.
I'm actually, it's exhausting. What's really funny about it is I feel like the quality of people that I have found on Tinder are no different than the quality of people that I find on Grindr. Mm-hmm. It's just I'm putting in the same amount of effort. So
is it a different? But it's a different demographic.
It's just a different demographic. Yeah. There are no women, of course, on Grindr.
Right. What about the quality of guys that you find, Tinder versus Grindr?
I have only met with one guy I've ever met off of Tinder, and most of the guys on Tinder are not looking for long-term or not looking for hookups. They're looking for long-term relationships. Oh. Grindr's for hookups. Tinder's more for a fairy tale ending. Mm. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. How about you?
All right. Well, so I only picked Tinder back up, like I said, when you started traveling this last time. And I found it to be a lot of work, which I know it is. But it was a lot more work than I remembered it being. And I had, it's just a lot of, you match with people, you maybe don't match with people, but you do. And then you might get a message or two. There was one lady that I really liked, and she was poly, and it seemed like we had stuff in common to talk about, and so I sent her a decent message to start with, and I said something about I would love to chat more at some point, and she responded back with would love to chat. I'm like, and you gotta chat, like it's come on. So it's just stuff like that I'm like, you're not even really trying.
People aren't trying.
No, and I'm not going to carry this. Yeah. And then I did meet. So, spoiler alert, I guess we can jump ahead to this before we talk about your experience in New Zealand. But I did meet up with a guy that I met on Tinder. So, we had some back and forths. And he was okay with the open relationship. He was not necessarily okay with meeting you, because I asked, do you want to meet both of us first or just me or whatever? I kind of get the feeling, which I haven't come right out and asked, little unusual for me, but I haven't. Don't know why.
I'm already shocked.
I know. But I kind of get the feeling that he's like, because he mentioned at one point about having another female friend who's bi. And so I kind of think he has this whole like idea of like two women and him kind of thing.
Looks, buddy, it's way too much work.
Yeah. And so that's kind of, as soon as that was mentioned, I backed off a lot. Yeah. And so it's like, I'm still in contact with them kind of here and there. We've only had one date because then Mardi Gras season took over and life got busy. No, I mean, it's a really good thing, but it is a very busy time. And he even was like, look, I understand. I'm okay with that. Yeah. And so that's fine. But at the same time, it's just...
So with all my travel that's coming up, do you think you'll make more of an effort?
I'll probably meet up with him again at some point. I've got to see how schedules work out because... Yeah, just gotta see what happens. But yeah. I would, and I've been trying to. I just, we haven't had any time whatsoever to, because I would love for you to even meet him. But yeah, we will meet up again at some point. But it's just, I am a little more gun shy because of that. I'm like, are you just using me for something like this, or are you actually interested? And my guess is it's a bit of both.
I mean, arguably, look, I'm going to be, from my point of view, there's always that hope for both, sure.
Yeah.
But I don't pursue somebody if I'm not genuinely interested. Yeah. Now, I will say I am different than many of the fellas out there. But for me, it's like, why would I even try if I'm not interested in you? There are people who are just looking to put another bedpost notch or lipstick case notch. But, I mean, I think you can figure that out if it is or isn't.
Yeah. And he's a nice enough guy. He's attractive. Like I said, I'll meet up with him again at some point, but I would say that I was kind of like a little more gung-ho, and now I'm kind of like, maybe pulled back like, 30-40% kind of thing. So not completely by any means, but I'm just a little more leery of classic me as well, overthinking everything that he says. I'm like,
that's so cute.
Did you mean it like that, or did you mean it like that? Or what do you actually, you said this, but, it's just how I am.
I love you.
I'm sorry, but
You're
it's how
a mess.
I am.
No, it's great. Yeah.
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 Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, I would say for me, Tinder has been, and at that point, it was just, honestly, it got to be so much work. And the gentleman came over one night while you were gone, and we were talking about it because he's been on Tinder kind of off and on and stuff, and he was just like, I've almost given up on it because it's too hard, and for the quality of people that you meet, and admittedly, we are spoiled. Look at our life. Because we have a lot of people that we're close to, a lot of intimate play partners, a lot of people that I can call on if I need somebody or if I need something. We're very lucky in that respect.
Yes.
We have a very good family and community around us. And I say family that we've created around us.
It's a good network.
Yeah. And so we have that. And we'll get to this later as well, but if I really want company, I can go to OSS on the weekend.
Right.
It's not a weeknight, but it's a weekend. I can go to OSS and I can be around people where I feel safe and accepted. So I think we're really lucky in that respect. And so it's kind of one of those, when I have this community, is it really worth putting the work into Tinder?
It's so funny because I'm of a different mindset. So where you're going into that way, and I'm already like, look, I'm probably going to give up Tinder, but I'm going to go back to OkCupid and try to cultivate that. I like the building the relationships.
Yeah.
And it's something that I really enjoy that. I enjoy that part of the swinging lifestyle is the relationship building. Now, I know that, and we've said this on the podcast before, that I tend to be bad about once the relationship is developed, I sort of let it go to the wayside. But that's not always the case. If it's something that's really special, I'm happy to work for it.
So how did Tinder work out for you in New Zealand? You paid for the month ahead.
Yes.
Did you meet people ahead of time?
I matched with 3 or 4 people. Of those 3 or 4, I tried to connect with 2 of them.
Okay.
And did pretty well. One of them I really connected with enough that we traded phone numbers. We moved over to text. I know, right? And I really liked her, and I'm going to stick more on the vague side, but look, the long and short of it is we met the first night. My initial stance was I didn't want to play. I just wanted to meet and let's chat and whatnot. So we had a couple of drinks at a bar and then turned to a couple more drinks. And it was a lot of really nice flirting and kind of just heavy, little bit of petting, heavy petting. And then she was like, let's go back to my place. And I was like, I really don't want to, not tonight. Let's plan to meet again later.
Did you set the expectation beforehand that you weren't going to play?
Not really.
Okay. Just in your head, but not to her.
Yeah, but once we got to the bar,
Yeah.
I was like, look, it's just a couple of drinks, and then I've got to go back because I got to
Fair
work
enough.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I felt like I said it there once we were at the bar. But, and I'm not going to say she was like...
Can't fault her for trying.
No. And I was like, all right, I am tempted.
Because I would try.
I know. I was like, I am tempted. So we ended up going back to her place and having some more drinks at her place. And listening to music led to kissing, led to heavy petting. And then I was like, my problem then was like, look, I've had enough alcohol that I'm not going to perform well.
Right.
But my body said something different, and I was ready to perform well, which is interesting. Going back to my performance issues, what I've learned is that really I have no performance issues when it's just one-on-one females. I have performance issues occasionally with one-on-one males. Anytime you get me in a larger group, I have massive performance issues.
Right.
Stage fright, apparently. It's not
But
just...
you've done better lately.
I have done better lately, yeah, especially with people we know. But, so, the long and short of it is we did have sex. It was an interesting sex. Like, how often is the first time you have sex spooning? Like, I was behind her, we were spooning. That was our first time having sex.
That's interesting.
For me, it was interesting, yeah. There was very little intimacy. I went down on her. She didn't go down on me. There was kissing.
Did she orgasm? Could you tell?
Honestly, there was copulatory audible copulatory vocalizations, but it was unclear.
Right.
But again, we were both pretty drunk.
Right.
Which is what I was really trying to hope against.
Do you think that led to her wanting to spoon more?
I have no idea.
Just out of like my body's exhausted, but I still want this?
And that was the thing. We were both exhausted.
Yeah.
Clearly, we both wanted it. I don't know. It was just... it did what I was afraid it was going to do. It took some of the magic away, which I don't want to be that guy. I'm not a Disney princess. I am a Disney princess.
You are, but...
But, you know, there's something I like about the intimacy of face-to-face sex, whether female on top, me on top, you know, whatever. Now, don't get me wrong. I love the animalisticness of doggy style.
Right.
Spooning is somewhere in between that. It's the facelessness of not looking at somebody, but it's the intimacy of missionary. So it's kind of weird. I don't know. It's just weird. It also adds to the list of women who have tried to have sex with me without a condom. There's a lot of them out there.
I would say there's a lot of people. And the more
Fair enough.
The more that we are in...
I don't have the same problem, though, with men.
I was going to say, the more that we're in this lifestyle, the more we see people try. Many will make a small attempt, and then if you say something, then okay, fine. But I'm still amazed at the number of people that try.
Yeah, I'm just amazed by it. And I'm like, no. And no, like let's use the condom thing. And we've been in group play situations, where it's clear that that's what the female wants. And while I appreciate the trust in me, I think that's misplaced trust. You don't know who I've had sex with, so I don't know.
And admittedly, I will say that going along in this lifestyle, because you do see it from time to time, it's something that I would say, a lot more conscious of now than I was to begin with. That when I am playing with someone, I will double and triple check. As opposed to just like, oh, let's use a condom and then take their word for it. Oh, no. I'm going to bloody well make sure that you have a condom on. Yeah.
I mean, it is one of those things. We've seen it and heard it talked about where, you know, the guy pulls out and doing the stealthing thing, which I honestly didn't think was a thing until... you know, you start seeing it happen, and you're like, okay, wow, that's... Because just as a side note, that's rape. I want to make that very clear, because the person on the receiving end doesn't know what they're consenting to.
Yeah. And sometimes it can happen during all different stages of play. I mean, it can be, you know, the easiest times are during a position change or a, oops, I accidentally came out, and then now I'm back in.
And doggy style is an easy one to do it in.
Yeah, and doggy's an easy one, of course, but there's a lot of different ways that it can happen, but it happens... more than I would like to admit. Yeah. And which is why I am so careful. Even if I have relative trust in the person, I still will check. Yeah.
So yeah, it's I mean it was fine.
How did she take it though when you insisted? Like, was she okay with using condom?
Oh yeah, she was fine with using condom. Yeah. Absolutely. Because she was just like, she tried to get me to enter her without a condom. I said, no, if we're going to do this, I'm going to use a condom. She's like, okay. Okay. And so I was like, all right, cool. Yeah. Cool.
That's good.
And then we had another date later on in the week, and there was just no chemistry. Yeah. Like, the chemistry we'd had just wasn't there. And honestly, we got back to her place, and I knew she wanted me to come up, and I was like, to be honest, I think it's going to be better if I just go home. I was like...
What do you think happened? Any idea?
I don't know, but it's just... I don't know. It's just like...
one of those things that happens.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that happens, and there just wasn't, chemistry. Chemistry is important.
And also, if you're not in the mood, if it's been like you've been working...
I was exhausted.
At that point, you'd had a lot of long work days, and you had a lot more ahead of you, and it can really
I'd had a number of 12-hour days already, and at this point, it was a 14-hour day with another 12-hour day the next day. And I was just like, I'm done.
It can really affect you.
So I really wanted just to, like, I really like you, but let's just call it. And
I think that's a tough place to be in, because you want human interaction, but you don't really want... You don't want to put forth, and this is going to sound terrible, but you don't necessarily want to put forth all the effort to cultivate a new relationship and to have like this big, exciting sex session. Yeah. When you have these really long work days, it's like sometimes you just want you want someone to talk to, someone to commiserate with, someone to have that intellectual stimulation with, maybe a little bit of heavy petting and making out, and then, all right, done.
To be absolutely honest with you, it was one of those multiple times in those 3 weeks that I was on the road. I thought if money wasn't an object, I would definitely hire a sex worker for the night, because like that's what I want. I want someone to talk to giggle with, to cut up with, to like that it's easy. And then if sex happens, great. If it doesn't, that's also great.
And there's a time limit, so you're not obligated to all night long.
Exactly. You know,
Yeah.
like I know that in
Yeah.
2 hours you're going to go home and then I get to go to sleep. And if we have sex, that's great. And if we don't, that's great. But what's cool about it is I get to dictate what the sex looks like. So if all I want to do is go down on you for an hour, then that's awesome.
Yeah.
But of course, both the locations that I was in and my pocketbook
Right.
restricted that.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it was what it was.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all right. So, any other Tinder experiences while you were on the road, or was that basically it?
Nope. I had one grinder hookup that was literally mutual masturbation. I'd landed in Melbourne at like, I don't know, 10:30, and I was like, the guy was basically 2 floors up above me, and he just wanted to
Company.
masturbate somebody.
Yeah.
So like, all right, cool, you can come jack me off, and that's basically what happened. And I was like, all right, cool, thank you,
Nice.
bye bye. So that was weird, but you know, it was all right.
Yeah.
And then I had a really nice also in Melbourne, a guy that I met through Grindr and had dinner with a couple nights and was a nice guy, and I really liked him, and so that was great.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So while you were gone and doing all this traveling, so I will say that the week before, my body hated me for a while. Earlier this year, I had a period of time that my body was just like, nope, it completely hates you. So for, I think the week before you left, I was bleeding.
Yeah.
Like lightly bleeding, not heavy or anything, but still enough to impact things.
Be obnoxious, yes.
Yeah. And so you left, and I was like, okay, you'll be good now. No, kept bleeding for like another week, because, you know, why not? And so, but
Did you
that
spring
meant,
a leak?
yeah, something like that. Yeah. You poked the wrong hole, babe.
Oh God, that's gross.
So, but what that meant, that was like the first weekend that you were gone, I wanted to, well, admittedly, I was kind of at home, and I was like, oh, I all that day I had planned to go to the club. And then I think I had stayed out late the night before, whatever, and then so I took a nap. I woke up at 5 p.m. from a nap. And you know how it is when you're like groggy and not really awake. And so I was like, no, I'm just going to stay in tonight. And then at like 8 o'clock, I finally woke up, and I was like, no, I want to be social. I want to be around people. I'm going to go to the OSS. I'm going to go to the club.
Go to the OSS. I love it.
Well, I started to say the Swingers Club.
I know. I just like it's
so,
sort of like how my grandmother used to call the Facebook.
The Facebook.
Yeah, you know, the OSS.
Yeah, so I was like, no, I'm going to go out. So at 8 o'clock, I like hurriedly got ready, went. I think I was there by like 9:30. It was like, you know, and I was just like, I'm going to do this. So I got there, still sort of lightly bleeding. So I was like, I'm not going to play, but I want to be social. I want to talk to people and whatever. Not really thinking it all the way through, in that because it's a place where I feel comfortable, and it's a place that we go frequently. So a lot of people know us, the staff know us, and it's, you know, it's basically a second home. But at the same time, that night I'm there by myself. So I am perceived by others as a unicorn.
Oh, that's right.
But I didn't really think about that ahead of time.
You were popular?
I may not have gone if I had thought about that. Because what that meant was that I wasn't comfortable playing unless it was with an established partner, because, you know, whatever. And so I was like, I wasn't in the mindset to play. I didn't feel sexy and feel like playing. But yet people expected me to. And there was one couple in particular, there were several couples that night that I really liked and had good conversation and got along well with. One couple in particular we had seen there maybe 6-8 months before. It had been quite a while. Got along well with them, never played with them, and they were there. And so she in particular kept hitting on me, and a couple of times she asked, are you going to play tonight? And they were just busy enough that I could help out behind the bar and kind of help work some. And so it was kind of one of those, if I just work, then that takes the pressure off of me. But it also wasn't really busy enough for me to just work the whole night. And so there was a bit of, I would go out and socialize, and then if it got busy, I would help and whatever. And and so it was just this kind of weird. And she asked me at one point, she was like, are you going to play tonight or not? And I was like, probably not, like, honestly. And it was just, for some reason, very unlike me, I didn't feel like saying, just coming out with the fact that I was bleeding and whatever, which most people understand. Like,
yes,
if you say that,
you should have been honest.
but I
Because
feel weird.
I know, but always what happens is then that people associate it's their problem.
Yeah, I know.
You don't want to. You're not playing because they're asking you if you're going to play.
I know,
and you know that's not the case because I know the couple you're talking about.
Yeah, but I think it was just, I don't know. I guess I felt a little more self-conscious, and this was me internalizing just because it had been so long.
Yeah.
But at the same time, nobody knows that and
Yeah.
whatever. And it's just, yeah. And so it was just kind of weird. And so I realized afterwards, I was like, people expect one thing of me because I'm there by myself. Whereas I'm just there, and I actually I had a good long conversation with another lady who was there as a single female for the first time. And she was a little uncomfortable. She kind of got her groove later in the night, but at first she was kind of slow to warm up to things. And I was like, look, it's a place where I feel safe. I can come, you're out of town, you're gone, and I know I can come and be social and meet people. And if I want to play, I can, but I don't have to. And so it was actually, I think, really good to have conversation with her. And she did end up going off and, playing with people and stuff, which is great. So I enjoyed myself and I had a very good night, but I didn't really think about it till I came home in that, I see myself one way, but other people see me a different way because of the situation. So, yeah. So the next time I went, I was very conscious of that. And I was like, I'm ready to play tonight.
That's funny.
So, yeah.
All right, so tell me about that one.
So that night, I did end up going, and I forget what the theme night was. I don't even remember. But I think it was the last weekend before you came home. Mm-hmm. And I ended up meeting a couple there who I really liked. And they aren't, they're pretty close by, which was good. But I
like geographically.
Yes, geographically. But yeah, so they were really lovely couple. She's absolutely gorgeous. He's very attractive. And she has this beautiful giggle, and he and I, we had some great conversations and just kind of joking around and stuff. So mentally, it was good stimulation. And so, yeah, we were sitting there talking for a while, and there were some other couples kind of coming and going and interacting with us. And at some point, it was like, all right, well, I'm going to go dress down now, because I was like, need to get this evening on. And so I got up to go down to the locker room to dress down. And she jumps up and starts walking after me. And he was like, well, that didn't take a lot of convincing. And she's like, but she's hot. What am I supposed to do? And admittedly, for me, that did a lot because it had been kind of a rough few weeks. And I was just like, oh, I feel so good now.
Oh, that's so funny and sweet.
So we went down to the locker room, dressed down, basically immediately then went upstairs and started playing. We started at the massage tables because now that there's no spa, we went to the massage tables because earlier somebody had said something about a massage and she was like, ooh, I would really like one. So we go up there and I tried to get her on the massage tables and she was like, oh, no, you. And I was like, but I thought you wanted the massage. And she was like, no, you need the massage. And I was like, all right, I'll take it.
That's great.
So I laid down on the massage table and she started up at my shoulders and he started down at, my lower end, so kind of ass and legs
the lower
and stuff.
ends.
And then they switched and it was really lovely. Yeah, it was great. And there was, some wandering fingers and things and yeah. So then at some point the fingers wandered enough that I rolled over onto my back for 30 seconds. And then I was like, all right, let's go to the beds over there because there's some space over there. So the three of us went over to play on the beds. And somewhere along the way, I don't really know where, because I did a lot of going down on him. Somebody did a lot of going down on me. I don't really know what all was happening. But it's somewhere along the way, another couple came and joined. And they were ones that we had talked to downstairs a little bit. But I wasn't quite as comfortable with them, so I stayed with the initial couple more so and kind of used them as a buffer because they were more interacting with the other couple. Mm-hmm. And then, people just kind of kept coming up into the space, as usually happens. And at some point, we'd been up there playing for quite a while, it felt like. I would have said probably easily a good 45 minutes or an hour, realistically, but it felt like probably 3 hours, but you know how time goes.
Yeah.
And so at some point I started to get a bit dehydrated and I was like, I need some water. And I kind of felt bad pulling out and leaving the situation until I looked around, and the lady that I'd been playing with was engaged with the guy of another couple. He was engaged with the lady of another couple. I had been going down on him while he was going down on her. But still, I was kind of like, if I back out now, nobody's really going to miss me. So I kind of pulled back for a second. He just kind of looked up, and I was like, I'm going to go get some water. And he's like, okay. And then just, and somebody else jumped in and filled my shoes, so it was fine. But
Filled your mouth.
Filled my mouth, yes.
No, filled his... Anyway, yeah.
No, it was filled my mouth, because I was going down on him.
Yeah, but filled your mouth makes it sound like the...
Okay, yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. So it's just oral play? No, like...
He did penetrate me.
Ooh.
So he did penetrate me for a little while. But then I ended up going down on him again after that. So, yeah, it was really good. They were a lot of fun. I really enjoyed them.
I think this is a couple that we had a date with later.
We did have a date with them later because I really liked them.
Yeah.
And I was like, you need to meet them.
Yeah,
and
I like them quite a lot.
Yeah, they were fun. And so, we had a date with them. And I think it was, really good conversation, a lot of laughs. I think we hit it off pretty well.
It's funny because the date we had a great date with them that included zero touching between the four of us.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I touched.
It was a very vanilla date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we had another date with them. They went to a big boat party with us. And there was more touching. But it's funny to me. It still strikes me as funny as to how awkward even people who are, I'm going to put us in the professional category, can be. Because I would put my hand around her and then instantly be like, oh my God, I got my hand around another man's wife. Kind of thing. It's like, it's weird.
But I would say it's also a bit of a comfort level in that we have only really just met them.
Yes.
And so it's a bit of, is this okay or is it not? How much is acceptable,
and
especially in public? And
I felt bad, too, because this was a sixsome where one of them was, you, of course, and then them, and then the gentleman who I'm as comfortable with him as I am with you.
Yeah. And
then another regular play partner of ours who I'm almost as comfortable with her as I am with you guys. She's not quite there yet, but they're well on the way of becoming there. So then I felt guilty because I would be cuddling with her and be like, oh my God, but I'm not paying attention to this other couple. Right. And there was a lot of overthought going on.
I was going to say, but I think it is a bit of the depth of relationship. Is that we have a lot more depth of relationship with the other female that was there and, of course, with the gentleman. And so, we're still just kind of feeling it out with this other couple. And not to say that it can't get there, but at the moment it's not. And so it is a bit of you want to express interest, but you don't want to push too hard.
Exactly, but at the same time, you don't want to not express enough interest to make them think you're not interested. It's complicated.
This life is complicated.
It really is. And I realize that I don't mean to be like, oh, my life is so hard, because it's not. I know we're very lucky, but you don't want to hurt feelings.
Yeah.
You want to make your intentions very clear.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes difficult to do that.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. And then, literally the day after you landed back from all of your travel, we had a pendulum.
Oof, yes.
And that pendulum, it was pendulum 9. We had a message, 2-3 hours beforehand from Lawrence saying that he needed us to work. I think some people had called out sick and whatever, so we were going to be working, which is fine. We don't mind working on pendulum night, just to make sure that everybody else has a good time and that everything goes well and goes smoothly. And so, so we ended up, Bradford was behind the bar pretty much, and I was doing tours basically all night long. I think I did tour after tour after tour, pretty solid until 11:30.
When I got there, you were a tour machine.
Yeah, it was one after the other, after the other, after the other, till about 11:30, and then after that, it got to be about one every half hour. Yeah. So it was still
busy.
It was just there were so many new people. I would have said half, maybe even a touch more, were new, which is amazing for pendulum because it's good to see that there's that many people both interested, but I also know that there were a few couples that just happened to go that night. Yeah. Because I think the very first couple I gave a tour to, they said, as I was giving them the tour, they were like, oh, so, the guy at the door, Lawrence, told us it was this pendulum night, and he said something about bi and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, so what exactly does that mean? And I told them, I was like, look, it's basically a time that individuals and couples can express any kind of bisexuality. They can express interest in people of the same gender. Don't have to, but if you're interested in playing or exploring, it's a safe place and a safe time to do so. You don't have to, because they were both 100% straight, and so I was like, you don't have to, but you have to acknowledge the fact that there may be same-sex play happening near you, and you have to be okay with that and respect it and don't judge people based on it. And they were just like, well, yeah, why would we do that?
Yeah, I love responses like that. It's like ally as fuck.
Right. But at the same time, not everybody's an ally, but they clearly were. And so it was great. And they ended up having a lovely evening. I saw them many times throughout the night, clearly having a good time. But at the same, but they kind of came into it not really knowing what it was, not really wanting to participate in that respect, but still being okay with it.
Yeah.
And they're just like, look, you do you, it's fine.
Yeah.
And I think that was beautiful. So.
Well, it is. Like, we've had so many people tell us that pendulum nights are special because they feel different. Like, the people there, the attitude there, it's all a very different attitude. And it is something that we cultivate, and we're very proud of. I do know that pendulum night it felt crazy busy. The bar staff and I were back there slinging drinks like you wouldn't believe, and you were a blur going up and down stairs giving tours. But so I got there late. Mm-hmm. Don't know if anybody knows this out there, but I had a play that was being rehearsed. And anyway, we'll talk about that at a later time. Just saying. #playwright. So I got there, and the moment I got there, you were like, there's a couple you need to meet. And I was like, okay, but I was sort of still in this kind of like dizzying.
You were in the euphoric state, coming from rehearsal.
State of rehearsal, but being thrown into the deep end of holy shit, we've got a lot of work to do. Because you didn't get there
until like, what, 10?
Yeah,
maybe?
Party started at 8:30. I got there at 10.
Yeah, and so we were well into things, and it was busy.
Yeah, it was well into the night. The drinks line was huge. Lawrence was manning the door. Yeah, so I ran back behind the bar, and we started slinging drinks. When I got to the bar, there was this really pretty girl talking to the other bar guy, and she was clearly flirting with him, and I was like, wow, she is very pretty. And then she disappeared. And then about an hour later, this guy comes up to the bar, and I was like, immediately I saw him, and I was like,
hello.
Well, it was...
Hello, handsome.
I wasn't even doing that. I was like, put your arms up. I need to see what wristband you've got. Put your arms up. I need to see what wristband you've got. What wristband are you wearing? And so he handed...
So you're like, here's your drink way up high.
Yeah, I was like holding his drink way above him. But he lifted his arms up, and I saw he was bi, and I'm like, thank you, God. So I was like, oh, I really like your tattoos. Because, what else are you going to say? Because not a good flirter sometimes. And we chatted for a bit, and then he disappeared. And then you came up during one of the slow times. You were like, all right, remember that couple I was telling you about like 3 hours ago? I'm like, yes. You were like, come here. I want you to meet them. So went out and met them, and it happened to be this couple.
Yeah.
And I was like, immediately, I was like, I know who they are. So it was pretty awesome to meet them. Another couple that are friends of ours that I absolutely have a massive crush on both of them. They were there. It was really great. It was good to see lots of friends, like other people that we love and see all the time. It was just great to...
It was really good.
It's funny because like one of the fellas that was there, they were at the first pendulum. And I remember when they walked up to me and they said, I know more about you than you could ever know about me because I've been listening to your podcast forever. And whenever I see them at the pendulums, it's a warm place in my heart. So
just to reality this a bit.
Okay.
Because pendulum was great.
Yes.
However.
Okay.
I will say there were a lot of new people. There were actually quite a few singles. I would have said, I don't know the official number yet.
That's right, Lawrence, get on that, buddy.
Yeah. What are you waiting for, dude? I know that there were a handful of single guys. There were 3-4 single women at least.
Agreed.
Yeah, and so there were a lot of, it was really good. There were a lot of new people. Like I said, just kind of exploring, checking things out, seeing how it is. Some people specifically wanted to come Pendulum Night for the first time. Some people, it just worked out that way schedule-wise, whatever. But at the same time, everybody seemed to be having a good time, which is the great thing. We never had time to play because around the time that probably half the crowd left, around 1:30, which is kind of the time that things start slowing down.
Yeah, and it's our time to go up and play.
We might have a chance to step back and play if everything's going all right. But instead at 1:30, this birthday party comes in.
Massive rush of people.
Yes, this whole big group of people. And it was just, I don't know how many, it was a lot of people. And
at least 12.
I would have said probably more than that, but yeah, sure, at least 12. And so it just got massively busy, and they have a different mentality than the Pendulum crowd does.
Yeah.
So I will say that at that point, it got super busy all of a sudden, but it also dampened things a bit because you take that relaxed comfortableness of Pendulum away, and this is a crowd that, while there are individuals that are really nice and we really like within it, overall, the crowd mentality is very entitled and, privileged, I would say.
Yeah.
And so...
If you ever watch Mean Girls, it was like the Plastics.
Yeah. And so this group comes in, and again, there's people within there that we really like and that don't fit that, but the group overall has that dynamic. And so it completely kind of shifted how the club felt.
Yeah.
At that point, I will say that fortunately, most of the people left were regulars at the club. They know how it goes, and they've seen this crowd before. They know how Pendulum goes. They know that that's not the norm, et cetera, et cetera. There were a few new people left that were like, oh, I just thought that's what happened at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And we talked to them later, and we're like, no, not always. And so there was a distinctive shift at that point, I will say.
Yeah.
And that's not...
And it was busy, and it was busy. And I was
that's
exhausted.
Not typical of Pendulum, and I dare to say that probably won't happen again.
Yeah, I would hope not.
Would hope not. But we can't, that's reality. That's what happens.
Yeah, you can't control people. Yeah.
But it did kind of dampen things a bit at the end for us, because that was kind of the time that's things are slowing down. We could maybe have a little bit of fun, but then we couldn't because it got stupid crazy busy, and yeah. But it is what it is. It's how life goes sometimes. You don't always get what you want.
That's what Pendulum 10's for.
Yeah.
Pendulum 10, that'll be my pendulum.
Do you want to talk about that?
Well, sure. In our closing statements. So Pendulum 10 is going to be May 10th. We've got some podcast friends that are coming in from all over the world to do a meet and mingle before. Then we're going to march our sexy asses over to OSS for Pendulum 10. And it's going to be the biggest pendulum ever.
Yeah, it's going to be great because we'll have the meet and mingle beforehand, so we'll have all the podcasters around. It's a typical OSS meet and mingle night, so we're kind of piggybacking on that.
Yes.
So we'll have a bit of all the crowds, and whoever wants to come out and meet and talk to their favorite podcasters.
I know! We're your favorite podcasters.
Mommy will be there too.
Oh. Yeah, it's true.
And then if you want to, have a little play, you can go over to OSS and just socialize, play, see where the night takes you.
I'm pretty excited for this.
Yeah. It's going to be great.
Yeah. So May 10th. Yeah. Stay tuned for more information. We will have it as soon as we're allowed to list everybody who's going to be there and all the fun stuff that we're going to do.
Also, I dare say that one of the podcasters is going to make a really awesome graphic for us for it.
If they don't...
They're not invited anymore.
They are still invited, but they're not invited to have sex with you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, pressure's on.
I know, right? You will not be on their ticket to Pound Town.
Wow. All right. I'm going to put my chastity belt back on.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I love it. I'm so excited. So stay tuned. Watch this space. Any final sexy thoughts?
No.
Anything over there on your list of sexy escapades? Sexcapades?
No, but I will say that just in closing, the really hot couple that we talked to at Pendulum.
Yes.
We subsequently had another date with.
We did.
That we then extended and bailed on further later plans. So that went smashingly well, and hopefully there will be more sexy times with them in the future.
I'm just going to say I have a massive crush on them.
They're both adorable,
They're both, like, right in my wheelhouse of people. She's beautiful.
And if we're lucky, they'll come to Desire.
She has big Disney eyes, and he's like this clever, smart, sexy man-gur that...
Beautiful build.
Yeah. Grr. Anyway.
Funny.
Look, a bunny.
No, I said funny.
Oh, I thought you said a bunny.
Because you know me and humor.
Yeah, no, he's funny. Yeah, they're both funny, but he cracks me up. Yeah. And I also like that after our sexy little date that we had on Saturday, on Sunday, we got sexy pictures of both of them.
Yeah, we did.
So we've already done the sexy picture exchange thing. Yeah, so we're totally... Anyway, but I digress. So, if you want to send us your sexy pictures, look, we'll even take unsolicited, easy for me to say, dick pics. We might mock you over them if they're unsolicited. If they're solicited, we will never mock you over them. Yeah, that sounds fair, right? Yeah.
I'm just seeing where you go with this.
I know, I'm just rambling on now. Look, I just want to see penises and vajayjays. Anyway, so send us your messages, your questions, comments, rude remarks. theatomsoflove@gmail.com. You can follow us on all of our social media feeds at By the By Podcast. Reach out to us on our website, www.bytheby.com.au. And then we also have a Patreon page, because if you really want to help us, you want to get your hands on our lovely little cum rags. Look, I'm really tempted to put up a Patreon support where Angela has wiped one of her cum rags all over her body, and we'll video it and send you a video. haven't discussed this with her yet. But it's www.patreon.com/bythebypodcast. Look, we've had people ask for used cum rags. I don't know why. I don't know why anybody would want our DNA.
We can supply that. Maybe they want to create a little you or a little me.
Both are terrifying.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
But they don't know that.
They do. They should know that. My God. Yeah, so definitely check us out. Wherever you're listening to this, we would love it if you went on and gave us a review. 5 stars would be great. 4 stars would be awesome. 3 stars, what the hell's wrong with you? Come on. Love us.
And 1 or 2, just send us some feedback and let us know.
Yeah, send us some feedback. Yeah. Let us fix it first. We'll tell you if we won't. And if we won't, then you can give us a 1 or 2 star. It's cool. Yeah, so there you go. Thank you very much for listening, and we will catch you on the flip side.
Yeah.
This is Kat Stark, author of Yelling in Pasties, The Wet Coast Confessions of an Anxious Slut, and co-host of the On the Wet Coast podcast. And you're listening to a Swing Set podcast on swingset.fm.